White made a move. Rook e7. Pause the video to find out black's response. White's idea is to play King d3. On e2. Rook takes e2 and dominate the board. King f3 move preferred by black. Rook e5. White's idea is to play Rook takes g5 and increase their advantage significantly. King f2 played by black. Black considers playing on e2. On a4. On promotes to queen at e1 check. Rook takes e1. King takes e1 and gain a significant edge. On a4 move preferred by white. Bishop f3. On the 5. On g4. Black might go for on e2. King c2. On promotes to queen at e1 and seize the initiative. On a6 was chosen by white. On g3. Black's idea is to play on e2. King c2. On g2. King d3. On promotes to queen at e1. Rook takes e1. King takes e1 and take decisive advantage. On a7 was chosen by white. On g2. Black considers playing on e2. On promotes to queen at a8. Bishop takes a8 and dominate the board. Rook f5 move preferred by white. White's idea is to play pawn promotes to queen at a8 and increase their advantage significantly. On promotes to queen at g1 move preferred by black. Rook takes f3 check. White is outplayed. Let's go to the next game. Black played on g5. Pause the video to analyze white's next move. Bishop e6. Knight g2. On takes g5 check. King takes g5. On f7. White might go for on promotes to queen at f8. On h4. Queen g7 check. King h5. Bishop g4 mate and increase their advantage significantly. Knight h4 was chosen by black. Bishop f5. Knight f3 check. King e4. Knight d2 check. King d3. King takes f5. On promotes to queen at f8 check. King e5. White is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. Rook takes b4 check. Pause the video to spot black's next move. On e4. Black intends to play pawn promotes to queen at d1 and increase their advantage significantly. Rook b1 played by white. White is looking to play pawn takes e4 and take decisive advantage. On e3 played by black. On g6. On e2. Black might go for pawn promotes to queen at e1 and seize the initiative. On g7 played by white. On promotes to queen at d1. Black is planning to play queen takes b1. King h2. Queen g1 check. King h3. Queen h1 mate and gain a significant edge. On promotes to queen at g8 was chosen by white. On promotes to knight at e1 check. King f1. Queen d3 check. King takes e1. Queen takes b1 check. King d2. White is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. Pawn b6. Pause the video to figure out black's next move. On d2. Black considers playing on promotes to queen at dx c1 check. King g3. Queen g1 check. King h3. Rook h8 mate and take decisive advantage. Rook d1 was chosen by white. White might go for rook takes d to check and increase their advantage significantly. King d3 was chosen by black. Black is setting up to play. On e3. On g7. Rook g8. King e5. On e2. Rook takes d to check. King takes d2 and seize the initiative. On g7 move preferred by white. White is planning to play pawn promotes to queen at gx f8 and seize the initiative. Rook e8 was chosen by black. Black intends to play. On e3. Rook g1. Rook g8. King takes f5. On e2. Rook g3 check. King c2. Rook g4. Pawn promotes to queen at e1 and secure a stronghold in the game. Rook g1 was chosen by white. White is planning to play. Pawn promotes to queen at g8. Rook takes g8. Rook takes g8 and take decisive advantage. King c2 move preferred by black. Black intends to play. Pawn promotes to queen at d1. Rook takes d1. King takes d1 and seize the initiative. King e3 was chosen by white. On f4 check. King takes f4. On e3. Black considers playing. On e2. Pawn promotes to queen at g8. Rook takes g8. Rook takes g8. Pawn promotes to queen at d1 and secure a stronghold in the game. Pawn promotes to queen at g8 was chosen by white. White is preparing to play queen b3 mate and seize the initiative. Rook takes g8 move preferred by black. Rook takes g8. Pawn promotes to queen at d1. Rook c8 check. White is on the verge of defeat. Let's go to the next game. White just played. King d4. Pause the video to spot black's next move. King f2. King e4. On e2. Black is planning to play pawn promotes to queen at e1 check and increase their advantage significantly. Rook b2 played by white. On f3. Black might go for King g3. King d4. Pawn promotes to queen at e1 and increase their advantage significantly. King f4 was chosen by white. On f6. Rook a2. On h4. Black wants to play King g2. King e3. On f5. Rook a1. On f4 check. King d2. King takes h3 and put immense pressure on the opponent. Rook b2 move preferred by white. On f5. Rook c2. King f1. Black might go for pawn promotes to queen at e1 and gain a significant edge. King takes f3 move preferred by white. Pawn promotes to knight at e1 check. King f4. White intends to play Rook d2. Knight g2 check. King takes f5 and put immense pressure on the opponent. Knight takes c2 move preferred by black. King takes f5. Black is clearly ahead. Let's go to the next game. White just played. Bishop h1. Pause the video to figure out black's next move. King d4. Black is planning to play pawn g3 check. King f3. Pawn g2. Bishop takes g2. Pawn takes g2 and dominate the board. Bishop b7 move preferred by white. On h2. Black wants to play On f3. King g3. Pawn promotes to queen at h1 and dominate the board. King g2 played by white. King e3. King h1. On f3. Black considers playing. King f2. Bishop d5. King e1. Bishop c6. On f2. Bishop g2. Pawn promotes to queen at f1 check. Bishop takes f1. King takes f1 and establish a winning position. Bishop d5 played by white. King e2. Bishop c4 check. King e1. Black is aiming to play. On g3. Bishop d5. On g2 check. King takes h2. King f2. King h3. Pawn promotes to queen at g1 and dominate the board. Bishop d5 played by white. On f2. Bishop g2. Pawn promotes to queen at f1 check. Bishop takes f1. King takes f1. King takes h2. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. White played Queen e8 check. Pause the video to find out Black's response. King a7. Black considers playing. Rook takes d1 check. King h2. Queen g1 mate and dominate the board. Rook takes d3 move preferred by white. Queen takes d3. On b4. On f3. Black is aiming to play. Queen f1 check. King h2. Queen takes g2 mate and put immense pressure on the opponent. King h2 move preferred by white. Queen d2. Black is planning to play. Queen takes g2 mate and put immense pressure on the opponent. Queen g8 move preferred by white. On e3. Black is aiming to play. On e2. On b5. Pawn takes b5 and secure a strong hold in the game. Queen g5 played by white. On h6. Black might go for. Pawn takes g5. On a5. Queen takes g2 mate and dominate the board. Queen g6 move preferred by white. Queen takes b4. Queen takes h6. On e2. Pawn takes f3. Pawn promotes to queen at e1. Queen b6 check. Black is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game. Black played King e4. Pause the video and try to predict white's next move. On c6. White is looking to play. On c7. King takes e3. Pawn promotes to queen at c8 and gain a significant edge. On f4 move preferred by black. Black is aiming to play. Pawn takes e3 and take decisive advantage. Bishop d2 move preferred by white. White is aiming to play. On c7. Bishop g4. King takes g6 and establish a winning position. On f3 played by black. Black is setting up to play. On f2. King e7. Pawn promotes to queen at f1 and dominate the board. Bishop e1 played by white. King d5. On c7. White is preparing to play. Pawn promotes to queen at c8 and seize the initiative. Bishop g4 move preferred by black. King takes g6. King c6. Bishop g3. King b7. King g7. Bishop f5. On g6. On f2. Black considers playing. Pawn promotes to queen at f1 and seize the initiative. Bishop takes f2 move preferred by white. King takes c7. King f7. King d6. On g7. Bishop e6 check. King f8. King d5. Bishop b6. White intends to play. Pawn promotes to bishop at g8 and increase their advantage significantly. King d6 move preferred by black. Pawn promotes to queen at g8. White is looking to play. Queen g3 check. King d5. King e7. King c4. King takes e6 and seizes the initiative. Bishop takes g8 move preferred by black. King takes g8. King d5. Black is outplayed. Let's go to the next game. White just played. Bishop d2. Pause the video and try to find black's next move. On e4 check. King g3. On f4 check. King g4. King d5. Bishop a5. On e3. Bishop d8. On e2. Black is planning to play. Pawn promotes to queen at e1 and put immense pressure on the opponent. Bishop a5 was chosen by white. King e4. Bishop e1. King e3. On a4. On f3. King g3. On f2. Bishop takes f2 check. King d2. King g4. Pawn promotes to queen at e1. Bishop takes e1 check. King takes e1. On b4. On b5. Black is preparing to play. Pawn takes a4 and gain a significant edge. Pawn takes b5 played by white. Pawn takes b5. King takes g5. King d2. King f6. King c3. King e5. King takes b4. King d4. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. On f4. Pause the video and try to find black's next move. White is setting up to play. On g4. King d7. King takes d5 and establish a winning position. On f5 was chosen by black. On h3. White is planning to play. On g4. King d7. On takes f5. On takes f5. King takes d5 and establish a winning position. On g5 was chosen by black. On takes g5. On takes g5. On h4. White wants to play. Pawn takes g5 and gain a significant edge. On f4 played by black. Black is setting up to play. Pawn takes g3. Pawn takes g5. Pawn g2. King e3. Pawn promotes to queen at g1 check and take decisive advantage. Pawn takes f4 move preferred by white. Pawn takes h4. On f5. On h3. On f6. On h2. On f7. Pawn promotes to queen at h1. Pawn promotes to queen at f8. Queen e4 check. King c3. Queen e3 check. King b2. Queen d4 check. King b3. Queen b4 check. King a2. Queen takes a4 check. King b2. Queen d4 check. King a2. Queen c4 check. King a1. King b5. On c6. Queen takes c6. Queen b8 check. Black has a decisive advantage. Let's go to the next game.